Be me, name is Anthony. 34 years old, warehouse operations supervisor at a regional logistics company. Been here 7 years, started as a loader on the night shift. Worked my way up through sweat and dedication. Company has about 200 employees across 3 facilities. We handle shipping and distribution for retail chains across the Midwest. It's physical work, demanding schedules, tight deadlines. But I love the logistics puzzle of getting products where they need to be. Every day is different. Every problem needs a solution. The workforce here is mostly men, maybe 80-20 split. Not because of discrimination, just the nature of the work. Heavy lifting, long hours, overnight shifts. Warehouse floor isn't glamorous, but it pays well. Women who work here are tough and respected. They chose this career, and they handle it. Nobody treats them differently because they don't want to be treated differently. My team is 15 people, 12 men and 3 women. Everyone pulls their weight or they don't last. That's just how warehouse work is. The work tells you if you belong, not your manager. Things have been running smoothly for years. We hit our targets, keep clients happy, earn our bonuses. Leadership mostly leaves us alone because results speak for themselves. Then corporate announces a new HR initiative. Diversity and inclusion overhaul across all facilities. New head of HR being brought in to lead the transformation. Her name is Veronica, 41, comes from a Fortune 500 company. Big credentials, lots of awards for DEI leadership. First week, she tours all 3 facilities. Walks through our warehouse in brand new safety boots. You can tell she's never been in a working warehouse before. Looks around like she's studying animals at a zoo. Takes notes constantly, doesn't talk to many actual workers. Just observes and writes things down. I introduce myself as the shift supervisor. She shakes my hand briefly and asks about our gender ratio. I tell her roughly 80-20, men to women. She frowns and writes something down. Asks why we have so few women. I explain the physical demands, the shift schedules. Most applicants are men. We hire anyone qualified. She says that sounds like a systemic barrier. I'm not sure what she means, but I just nod. She moves on to inspect other areas. 2 weeks later, Veronica calls a mandatory all-hands meeting. Everyone from all 3 facilities packed into the main warehouse. She stands on a platform with a microphone and a presentation screen. Starts talking about the company's commitment to equity. Says she's analyzed our workforce data. Found significant gender disparities at all levels, especially in supervisory and high-paying positions. Time for systemic change. She puts up a slide titled Equal Outcomes Initiative. My stomach drops when I read it. New policy effective immediately. All departments must achieve 50-50 gender representation within 18 months. Applies to hiring, promotions, shift assignments, and performance bonuses. Any metric with gender disparity must be equalized. If men are outperforming women on any measure, the measure will be adjusted until outcomes are equal. I look around and see confused faces everywhere. A guy next to me whispers, "What does that even mean?" I don't know yet, but I have a bad feeling. Someone raises their hand and asks for clarification. Asks what happens if more men apply for jobs than women. Veronica says we'll need to recruit more aggressively from women and implement preferential hiring until ratios are met. Another person asks about performance bonuses. Currently based on individual productivity metrics. Packages loaded, orders processed, accuracy rates. Veronica says those metrics favor masculine work styles. Speed and strength over collaboration and accuracy. Bonuses will be restructured to ensure equal distribution. I raise my hand and ask a direct question. So, if I load twice as many packages as someone else, we get the same bonus. Veronica smiles and says that's equal outcomes. Everyone's contribution is valued equally. I say, but our contributions aren't equal if I'm doing twice the work. She says that's the kind of competitive thinking we're moving away from. I shut up because I can see where this is going. Meeting ends and the warehouse floor is buzzing. Guys are clustered in groups talking intensely. The women look uncomfortable too, honestly. Maria, one of my best workers, comes up to me. Says she doesn't want bonuses she didn't earn. She works hard and wants to be rewarded for her effort. Not lumped in with people who don't pull their weight. I tell her I understand, but this is coming from corporate. We'll have to see how it plays out. Week 1 of the new policy. HR sends out updated performance metrics. Individual productivity tracking is discontinued, replaced by team-based metrics with equal credit distribution. Doesn't matter if you loaded 500 boxes or 50. Everyone on the team gets the same performance score. The high performers immediately notice. Why bust your ass when the guy slacking gets the same credit? I watch effort levels drop in real time. Guys who used to compete for top loader stats, now doing the bare minimum. First week productivity drops 15%. Week 2 and hiring changes kick in. We have 3 open positions on my shift. 12 applicants, 10 men and 2 women. HR tells me I can only hire 1 man maximum. Other 2 positions must go to women, even though the male applicants have more experience. I interview everyone fairly. 2 of the men have 5 years warehouse experience each. 1 woman has 2 years, the other has none. Just graduated from college, never worked logistics. HR says hire both women and 1 man. I push back, say the experienced candidates are clearly stronger. HR says we need to meet our gender targets. Experience can be developed, representation cannot. I'm forced to hire the inexperienced candidates. The college grad, her name is Brittany, shows up first day. Looks terrified at the scale of the operation. Never lifted anything heavier than a textbook. I assign her to light duty, scanning and sorting. She's slow, but she's trying, I'll give her that. The other new hire, Denise, has some experience at least. But she's used to a smaller facility, with different systems. Takes time to get up to speed. Meanwhile, the experienced male candidates got hired by our competitor. We lost good workers to hit a gender number. Month 2 and equal outcomes policy expands. Shift assignments must now be gender balanced. Currently night shift is 90% men. Because it pays more and most women don't want those hours. HR mandates that women must be offered night shift first. Premium pay incentives adjusted to encourage female participation. Translation: women get paid more for the same night shift. The men are furious. Mike, been here 9 years, always worked nights for the extra pay. Now he's making less than a new female hire doing the same job. Because they needed to incentivize her to take the shift. He comes to me ready to quit. I tell him I understand, but my hands are tied. He says this is discrimination, plain and simple. I can't argue with him, because he's right. 3 more guys put in notice that week, all citing the pay inequality. HR calls it equitable compensation adjustment. The guys call it what it is, paying people differently based on gender. Month 3, and the malicious compliance begins. I'm at the bar with a group of guys from all 3 facilities. Everyone's frustrated. Everyone's got stories. Someone suggests we just do exactly what they want. Equal outcomes, right? If we can't be rewarded for working harder, why work harder at all? Let's give them exactly 50% effort. Match our output to the lowest performer. That's equal outcomes. Everyone laughs but then gets quiet, because it actually makes sense in a twisted way. If individual effort doesn't matter, then individual effort stops. Word spreads through the male workforce. Not organized, no formal plan. Just a shared understanding. We're going to give them exactly what they asked for. Equal outcomes. Week 1 of malicious compliance. Productivity drops another 20%. Men who used to load 400 packages per shift, now loading 200, same as the slowest worker. When supervisors ask why, they say they're ensuring equal outcomes. Don't want to create disparities that trigger policy reviews. It's brilliant in a horrible way. They're using the policy language against itself. Month 4, and operations are struggling. We're missing shipping deadlines for the first time in years. Clients are complaining about late deliveries. 3 retail accounts threaten to switch providers. Veronica calls an emergency meeting. Demands to know why productivity has crashed. Facility manager tries to explain. Says the equal outcomes policy removed incentives. Workers have no reason to exceed minimum expectations. Veronica says this is resistance to change. Says workers are sabotaging the initiative. Facility manager says they're doing exactly what the policy says. Equal outcomes means equal effort means equal minimum. You can't mandate equal results while removing rewards for excellence. Veronica insists the policy is sound. Implementation just needs refinement. Announces new mandatory training on equity mindset. Because clearly we just don't understand the vision. Training is 4 hours of corporate buzzwords. Phrases like centering marginalized voices, deconstructing competitive hierarchies, reimagining productivity through inclusive lens. Nobody's buying it. The warehouse guys sit through it stone-faced. Do the feedback forms with fake positive responses. Then go right back to minimum effort. Can't fire them for following policy. Equal outcomes means equal output. They're delivering exactly that. Month 5, and we lose our biggest client. National retail chain, been with us for 12 years. They can't tolerate the delays anymore. Switches to a competitor who can actually deliver on time. That's 30% of our revenue gone overnight. Layoffs are announced the next week. Veronica insists layoffs must be gender balanced, even though most recent hires were women to meet quotas. So more experienced men get cut to protect newer women. The logic is insane, but HR controls the process. Mike, 9 years experience, gets his notice. Brittany, 6 months experience, keeps her job. Because we need to maintain gender ratios. Mike doesn't even argue. Just laughs and says he saw this coming. Takes his severance and gets hired by our competitor within a week. The one that took our biggest client. He's now helping them beat us. Thanks, Veronica. Month 6, and I start documenting everything. Keep detailed records of productivity metrics. Before and after the policy implementation. Save every email from HR about equal outcomes. Document every time I'm forced to make a decision against operational logic. I'm building a case, not sure for what yet, but I know this is going to implode. And when it does, I want proof. I tried to stop it. The 3 women on my original team come to me. Maria, Jennifer, and Deb. All been here for years. All hard workers. They're frustrated too. Maria says the new hires make us all look bad. Jennifer says she's tired of being lumped in with people who can't do the job. Deb says she chose this career because she likes working hard. Now hard work doesn't matter. They're not allies in this fight. They're victims of it too. Good workers being told their effort is worthless. Because outcomes must be equal regardless of input. Month 7, the board gets involved. Financial projections are a disaster. Revenue down 40% with a client loss. Productivity metrics worst in company history. Employee turnover highest ever recorded. Board demands answers from corporate leadership. CEO tries to defend the initiative. Says transformation takes time. Board isn't buying it. They hire an outside consulting firm to audit operations. Veronica protests, says it's undermining her work. Board says her work is undermining the company. Consultants spend 3 weeks at all facilities. Interview workers at every level. Review policies, metrics, financial data. I'm honest in my interview. Tell them everything. Show them my documentation. Productivity charts, turnover data, client loss timeline. All correlating directly with policy implementation. The consultant nods and says, I'm not the first to show her this. Month 8, the audit report comes out. It's devastating for Veronica. Key findings read like an indictment. Equal outcomes policy created perverse incentives. Removed motivation for high performance. Resulted in productivity decline of 47%. Gender-based hiring quotas reduced workforce quality. Average experience level dropped from 6 years to 2.3 years. Compensation adjustments created legal liability. Paying different rates based on gender violates employment law. Client loss directly attributable to operational decline. Conservative estimate of $4.2 million in damages. Board calls emergency session. Veronica is terminated immediately. CEO gets a formal warning for approving the initiatives. All equal outcomes policies suspended pending legal review. The announcement comes on a Friday afternoon. By Monday, the warehouse feels different. Like a weight has been lifted. Interim HR director announces return to merit-based systems. Individual performance tracking restored. Bonuses based on actual productivity again. Hiring based on qualifications, not quotas. The change is immediate. Guys who had been coasting start working hard again. When effort matters, people make effort. Funny how that works. Productivity jumps 30% in the first week. Month 9, and we start rebuilding. Reach out to former employees who left during the chaos. Mike comes back, gets a raise, and an apology. 3 other experienced guys return too. The competitor, who took our client. They're actually struggling now, overextended. Our former client calls to discuss returning. Says they heard about our leadership change. Wants to rebuild the relationship. We negotiate a new contract, smaller than before, but it's a start. Trust takes time to rebuild. Year 1 post-Veronica. Company has mostly recovered. Not fully, some damage is permanent. But we're profitable again, growing again. New HR director is a guy named Frank. Old school, focuses on compliance and support. Not social engineering. His philosophy is simple. Treat everyone the same, reward results, address problems individually. No group policies, no outcome mandates. Just basic fairness. Brittany, the college grad who couldn't lift a textbook. She actually stuck around, worked hard to improve. Now she's a decent worker, not great but solid. Earned her place through effort over time. That's how development should work. Not throwing people into positions they're not ready for, but giving them chances to grow at their own pace. Maria got promoted to shift supervisor at Facility 2. Based on her performance, her leadership, her years of experience. She earned it the right way. Didn't need a policy to hand it to her. Just needed a fair system that recognized her work. I got promoted to operations manager for all 3 facilities. 7 years of experience, proven results, respected by the team. The selection was based on qualifications. 5 candidates, 2 women, 3 men. They picked me because I was the best fit, not because of any demographic checkbox. That's how it should feel. Like you earned something, not like you were given something. 2 years later, I'm training a new supervisor. Young guy named Marcus, 26, hungry to learn. Reminds me of myself when I started. He asks about the equal outcomes era. Heard stories but wasn't here for it. I tell him the whole truth. How a policy that sounded nice on paper destroyed operations. How removing rewards for excellence removed excellence itself. How treating people as groups instead of individuals hurts everyone. He asks how we prevent it from happening again. I tell him by remembering what actually works. Equal opportunity, not equal outcomes. Same rules for everyone, same standards for everyone. Let people rise or fall based on their choices and effort. Support everyone who wants to improve. But don't guarantee results nobody earned. He nods and says that makes sense. I say it's obvious when you see it clearly. But some people prefer theories over reality. They'd rather feel good about intentions than deal with the consequences of outcomes. The real world doesn't care about intentions. Only results. I've got a son now 4 years old, already showing interest in how things work. Loves watching trucks at the loading dock. When he grows up, I want him in a world where effort matters. Where he can work hard and see the results. Where nobody tells him his success is someone else's oppression. Or that he should hold back so others can catch up. I want him to compete, to strive, to earn. And I want the same for every kid, regardless of what they look like. Equal opportunity to try, not equal guarantee of outcome. That's the difference between fairness and fantasy. Anyway, that's the story of how our HR director demanded equal outcomes instead of equal opportunity, removed all incentives for individual performance, watched productivity crash by 47%, lost our biggest client and $4.2 million, forced gender quotas that drove out experienced workers, created pay disparities that violated actual employment law, got audited, got exposed, got fired, and proved that you can't mandate equality of results without destroying the effort that creates results. The men gave her exactly what she asked for. Equal outcomes. Everyone performing at minimum level. No disparities because no one was trying. Perfect equality in mediocrity. Turns out when you tell people effort doesn't matter, they stop making effort. And when you remove rewards for excellence, excellence disappears. That's not a gender issue. That's a human nature issue. Treat people like individuals who can earn their success, and they'll work for it. Treat them like demographic categories owed certain outcomes, and they'll stop caring. Because why would you? Equal outcomes sounds nice until you live it. Then you realize equal opportunity was the gift all along. The chance to prove yourself, to earn your place, to succeed or fail based on your own choices. That's not oppression. That's freedom.